Welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to discuss the death of Officer John O'Keefe, and we're going to discuss, was Karen Reed involved in his death? Did he get bitten by a dog? Was he involved in a fight? But I want you to look at it from a different perspective. I want you to clear your mind of all the information you know. And I'm going to start with giving you a few facts. And these are the facts. 1, a group of friends were bar hopping from one to another, and then they went back to one of their houses to drink and party some more. And this is at midnight. So that's one of the facts. The next fact is, in the morning, a man was found with scratches on his arm and a head injury, lying in the snow next to a fire hydrant. So that's the second fact. The third fact is 30 feet away from the fire hydrant, the man's blood and a drinking glass was found in the snow. And that was in the lawn, not the road. We have to stipulate that's in the lawn. The next fact is that his blood alcohol level was somewhere around 0.28. And his clothing was covered in vomit. Now, with those facts, now I don't want you to think about anything else, but with those facts, I want your immediate thought of what happened to that person. Would it be that they got in a fight? Would it be that they got hit by a vehicle? Or would it be that he just had too much to drink and fell twice? In other words, with those facts, where would your starting point be? Well, one of the starting points might be that he wandered out of the party, across the lawn, fell, and then fell again down at the fire hydrant. Nowhere in there would be that he got in a fight, got bit by a dog, or got hit by a car. When his only injuries, I forgot to add the injuries to his nose, but no broken bones. You know, when I said that, I meant to say that his only injuries were scrapes on the arm, bruises to the face, and a skull fracture with a bang on the head. Nowhere in there would you assume that he got hit by a car. You would assume that his injuries came from the fire hydrant. So, with that in mind, I am going to now explain what I think happened. So, I think what happened is obvious and simple. Well, simple isn't the right word, but it's the most logical. That's what I really meant by the term simple. So I believe what could have happened is Karen Reed lets him out of the Lexus. He walks up the road with his drinking glass, walks down the driveway. Before he gets to the house, he vomits in his shirt. The .28 alcohol has finally kicked in. He's traditionally a beer drinker, not something harder. So it's harder for him to gauge how much of that alcohol in how it's going to affect him. It affects him negatively. He throws up on himself, holds his shirt out to catch it so it doesn't go everywhere. Has too much pride to go into the house smelling like vomit. He doesn't go into the house. He looks around. He sees the fire hydrant and he thinks to himself, I'm going to walk down there. I'm going to sit and rest on the fire hydrant, and I'm going to call Karen Reed, his girlfriend, to come pick him up. And on the way across the yard, because he's going to take the shortest distance because he's feeling ill, he's feeling dizzy, he's feeling miserable with this .28 or higher blood alcohol level. He trips on the uneven ground with the grass and the mulch meat because he's not familiar with the house. He lands on his face, possibly with the glass between him and his face, cutting his face, bruising his nose, bleeding profusely from the nose. Gets up, the blood drips in the snow. He continues to walk down to the fire hydrant. He gets his phone out. His arm, he passes out again or trips or falls. His arm catches this tin flag, scrapes his arm, scrapes here, drops his phone, falls as he's falling, drops his phone, head hits the fire hydrant, and he has also a pattern mark on his elbow that matches one of these bolts. I believe that's what happened to him. The fact that the blood and the cup were found 30 feet approximately from the fire hydrant, meaning that he was injured in two spots, basically dispels the fact that he was beat up or hit by a car, because this is the first injury. So if he was beat up here or hit by a car here, the logical explanation would be that he would call for help in either circumstance, because there would be nothing to be ashamed of. And when we get hurt in those manners and hurt that badly with our nose bleeding and in that condition, we would more likely, if the 2.8 alcohol wasn't affecting him, in other words, if he was, what's the word I'm looking? If he was a heavy drinker, so that I can't think of the word, but if he was a heavy drinker, so that he could sustain a .4, for example, so he was more clear because he's accustomed to those high levels, then he would be more apt to be with it enough to call for help or even call inside. It makes more sense that he vomited in the driveway, didn't want to go in the house, tripped and fell here, walked down here to call Karen Reed because he wanted to sit on the fire hydrant and wait for her to come pick him up. That's what I believe happened. I believe that's the most logical reason that he was down at the fire hydrant. And I believe that's what happened to him. He succumbed to his drinking and he fell twice. He wasn't beat up. He wasn't bit by a dog. He wasn't in a fight. He didn't get hit by a car. The logical thing is that he was heavily intoxicated. He was dizzy, vomiting, and unsteady on his feet. And he fell twice in the last fall on the fire hydrant, caused his injuries so he could no longer move, and died from those injuries and from the cold weather. It's extremely sad, but I believe that's what happened. I will be making more videos to show that he indeed was found by the fire hydrant. This is my rendition of the Officer Sheriff's vehicle dash cam with Karen Reed and Carrie Roberts, and she explains their position in her testimony. So you can go watch that video. It's early on in the trial, and I thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.